The night was silent. Too silent. The kind of silence that feels unnatural. As if the world itself is holding its breath. Jacob stood alone near the river. The last member of his family had already crossed. The sounds of movement had faded. The campfires in the distance were little more than faint glows against the darkness. And for the first time in a very long time, there was nobody around him. Nobody to advise him. Nobody to distract him. Nobody to help carry the weight inside his heart. Only the sound of flowing water. Only the darkness. Only himself. Tomorrow would bring Esau. Tomorrow would bring answers. Tomorrow would bring consequences. But tonight, something else was coming. Something Jacob never expected. The Bible describes what happened next with astonishing simplicity. A man wrestled with him until daybreak. That is all. No warning. No explanation. No introduction. No name. No description. One moment Jacob was alone. The next moment, someone was there. Imagine that. A sudden figure emerging from darkness. No footsteps. No conversation. No explanation.
Synthetic voice by VB.VN.
Just a struggle. Immediate. Violent. Relentless. And perhaps that is why this story remains so mysterious. Because from Jacob's perspective, he did not know who he was fighting. At least not yet. All he knew was that someone had entered the darkness. And that someone would not let him go. The struggle began. Hands grasping. Bodies colliding. Feet slipping against dirt and stone. The cold night air filled with effort and tension. Minute after minute passed. Then an hour. Then another. Still neither man yielded. Still neither stepped back. Still the battle continued. At first, perhaps Jacob believed he was fighting for survival. An attacker. A threat. An enemy. But as the hours passed, something must have felt different. Something strange. Because this opponent was unlike any man he had ever encountered. Strong. Unmovable. Mysterious. Almost supernatural. And yet, Jacob refused to release his grip. Why? Because this battle was no longer merely physical. Without realizing it, Jacob was wrestling with his entire life. Every fear. Every insecurity. Every regret. Every wound.
Synthetic voice by VB.VN.
Every lie he had ever believed. Everything was surfacing. And perhaps that is what makes this story so powerful. Because most people spend their lives fighting external battles. Money. Relationships. Careers. Health. Success. Failure. But the deepest battles are internal. The battles nobody sees. The battles that happen inside the soul. The battle between fear and trust. Control and surrender. Pride and humility. The old self and the person God is trying to create. Jacob thought he was fighting a stranger. In reality, he was confronting himself. Hour after hour the struggle continued. The darkness remained. The stars watched silently overhead. And somewhere inside Jacob, something was breaking. Not physically. Spiritually. For decades Jacob had relied upon his own abilities. His own intelligence. His own plans. His own strategies. Whenever life became uncertain, he took control. Whenever fear appeared, he manipulated circumstances. Whenever risk emerged, he searched for leverage. Control had become his survival mechanism. But now control was failing. For perhaps the first time in his life, he faced something he could not outthink, could not outmaneuver, could not manipulate. And that terrified him. Because losing control always terrifies people who have built their identity around it. Perhaps that describes some viewers right now. You plan everything. Manage everything. Anticipate everything. Prepare for every possible outcome. Not because you enjoy it. Because deep down, you are afraid. Afraid of uncertainty. Afraid of disappointment. Afraid of pain. Afraid of trusting what you cannot control. Jacob understood that fear better than most. And tonight, God was forcing him to confront it. The struggle intensified. Sweat covered his body. Muscles burned. Exhaustion spread through every part of him. Yet somehow, he continued fighting.
Experience AI voice technology at vb.vn.
And perhaps the strangest part of the story is this. The mysterious figure could have ended the struggle at any moment. The outcome was never truly in doubt. Yet the battle continued. Why? Because God was not trying to defeat Jacob. He was trying to transform him. There is a difference. God does not wrestle with people because he wants to destroy them. He wrestles with them because he refuses to leave them unchanged. And transformation often feels like conflict. Because the old self rarely surrenders easily. The old fears fight back. The old wounds resist healing. The old identity refuses to die quietly. And Jacob's old identity was fighting desperately for survival. The hours passed. Midnight became early morning. Still the struggle continued. Still the mysterious figure remained. Still Jacob refused to let go. Perhaps memories flashed through his mind. His father's face. His mother's voice. Esau's anger. Years of guilt. Years of running. Years of pretending. Years of carrying burdens he never truly released. And perhaps for the first time, he realized how tired he was. Not physically. Spiritually. Tired of striving. Tired of proving himself. Tired of carrying fear.
Experience AI voice technology at vb.vn.
Tired of controlling outcomes. Tired of being Jacob. Because that name carried meaning. Jacob. The one who grasps. The deceiver. The struggler. The manipulator. The survivor. A lifetime of identity wrapped inside a single name. And God was preparing to change it. But first, Jacob had to reach the end of himself. Because people rarely change while they still believe they can save themselves. Real transformation often begins where self-reliance ends. And Jacob was approaching that moment. The darkness slowly began to soften. Not daylight. Not yet. But the first subtle signs that dawn was approaching. The battle had lasted the entire night. An entire night. Think about that. Most people quit long before then. Most people surrender. Most people walk away. Yet Jacob remained. Still holding on. Still refusing to release his grip. Still fighting. And then, the moment arrived that changed everything. The mysterious figure touched Jacob's hip. Not struck. Not punched. Not attacked. Touched. And instantly, his hip came out of joint. Just like that. One touch. One moment. One impossible display of power. Suddenly the truth became unavoidable. This was no ordinary man. No ordinary opponent. No ordinary encounter. Jacob's strength vanished. Pain exploded through his body. His leg weakened. His resistance collapsed. And yet, something remarkable happened. He still would not let go. Most people would have released their grip. Most people would have retreated. Most people would have surrendered. Jacob did the opposite. Because now the battle had changed completely.
Voice generated by vb.vn.
He was no longer fighting against the mysterious figure. Now he was clinging to him. And that distinction changes everything. For years Jacob had spent his life grasping at blessings. Grasping at opportunities. Grasping at control. Grasping at security. Now, for the first time, he was grasping at God. And the dawn was almost here.